We got the second round of the NHL Playoffs. We've got the Golden Knights versus the Canucks, the Stars versus the Avs, and then in the Eastern Conference, we have the Flyers versus the Islanders, the Lightning versus the Bruins. I'll be the first person to admit I had, who did I have? Calgary over Dallas, and I had St. Louis over Vancouver, as well as Carolina over Boston. Got all three wrong, but it's good because I had all three losing this round anyway. But we'll break it down. Vegas and Calgary, or Vegas and Vancouver. It's an interesting one. Vancouver moves on from St. Louis. Jordan Binnington just was terrible this postseason. St. Louis is able to keep it going. Now you have Vegas and Vancouver. I still believe the same. I think Vegas goes on and wins. Vancouver really is still a young team. It helps them now. They get more playoff experience. They're a team that will no longer be flying under the radar next year. I can guarantee that. They might be contenders in the Pacific or the Pacific Division in the Western Conference this year, but still think I still have Vancouver. I think I have Vegas. I think Vancouver's they're going to do well though against Vegas. I think they're fast, they're young, and it's that old saying, you don't know what you don't know. They don't realize that they're really not supposed to be there, but I think they're going to compete, but I have Vegas. About 6 games, I think Vegas will take it. Second one will be Colorado and Dallas. Dallas won last night. Vancouver, Philip Grubauer goes down, or Colorado, Philip Grubauer goes down with an injury. They're back onto their backup goalie now. I still think Colorado is going to win this game, but Dallas showed me a lot against Calgary. They showed a lot of poise. They attacked Calgary's goaltending for really struggling, especially in the 7 straight goals game. So I'm going to hold true to Colorado because I have Colorado going on here, but Dallas has shown me a few things in their series against Calgary. I do think, though, it would have changed if Calgary was able to hold the 1-goal lead they had with under a minute left in Game 4 and took a 3-1 lead in that series. I don't think Dallas would be here. Now you have Colorado. Does Colorado step on Dallas's throat in this series? If they have the opportunity, I think they do. You have the Flyers and the Islanders. Not going to lie, my Flyers scared me a little bit. Montreal's defense, as well as Carey Price, was standing on their head. They were giving the Flyers fits. Their top line couldn't get it going. Thankfully, Carter Hart stood on his head, and Montreal's offense really wasn't anything to be afraid of. But they have the Islanders now, and I did have the Islanders beating the Capitals. And here's the question. Are the Islanders for real, or were the Capitals bad? And that's what it comes down to. Are the Islanders for real, or were the Capitals finally drifting off? Are they done? Is their shot at a dynasty over? They never had a dynasty. Their 1 cup win, is it over? Is that window closed? I don't know. It's funny. You go back to when the Flyers were dominating in the round robin, and I would have thought they would have just smoked the Islanders because the Islanders were struggling with the Florida Panthers. Well, now all of a sudden it's completely role reversed. Now, is it possible, watching that Flyer series, there wasn't a whole lot of angst or pressure in that series for the Flyers? It was odd. It kind of just seemed like two teams having exhibition games, or at least the Flyers viewed it as an exhibition game. The Canadians did not, but talent alone helped them carry on. I think if the Flyers get it back on track, which I believe they will, I think they'll snap into reality here against the Islanders, and they'll still win this series. But I think the Islanders are a pretty dangerous team going forward. But I do still have the Flyers winning. And the Lightning versus Boston. I did not have Boston winning this. They looked horrible in the round robin. Anybody that's ever from Boston will probably agree with you that they might have hit the panic button a little bit after the round robin game. I'm still going to go with the Lightning just for their offense alone. It's going to be a fun series. It really is. I think the Lightning have hit a different stride. It would have been interesting if this series, say, Tampa Bay struggled against Columbus, but they really didn't. Boston really didn't struggle against Carolina either. I think Carolina, after Game 2, had a little bit of a high, but once Boston kind of came out and hit them in the mouth, Carolina kind of snapped back to reality. I would go with Tampa Bay here just for their goal scoring ability and their goaltending too. Remember that Tuukka Rask is now out of the bubble. It's Yaroslav Halak who has a ton of experience in the playoffs, but he is a backup for a reason against Vasilevsky from Tampa Bay. So I still have Vegas versus Colorado, the Flyers versus the Lightning, and I'm still holding out on the Flyers versus the Avs in the finals.